When I first became involved in the fight for justice, I came across this quote by Primo Levi, an Italian Jewish chemist who survived the Holocaust. The quote says, "Even in this place, one can survive, and therefore one must want to survive, to tell the story, to bear witness, and that to survive, we must force ourselves to save at least the skeleton, the scaffolding, the form of civilization. We are slaves, deprived of every right, exposed to every insult, condemned to certain death, but we still possess one power, and we must defend it with all our strength, for it is the last, the power to refuse our consent." As the situation in Malta deteriorates, and we are even kept out of our own parliament, it may be tempting to think that there is very little that we can do. But we must remember that this country is ours. Malta is ours. Joseph Muscat and his corrupt gang were elected to serve us, not to use their power to serve themselves. Joseph Muscat, people elected you, and tonight we, the people, are here to refuse our consent. When the Panama Papers scandal broke out, you retained your corrupt minister, Conrad Mizzi, and your corrupt chief of staff, Keith Cambry. If you had done your duty and cast them out, Daphne Caruana Galizia would still be alive. Even now, you continue to hang on to power in order to protect them and yourself. Resign now, Joseph Muscat. We do not want a prime minister who protects criminals. Resign now. We refuse our consent. You have taken over our law courts. Where is the meritocracy you promised us? You completely ignored what the Venice Commission, the Greco report, and the European Commission accused you of, that of having abused, since 2013, of unfettered powers by making appointments that have changed the composition of Malta's relatively small judicial corps by more than half. We deserve a fair and impartial judiciary. Resign now. We refuse our consent. We have had 5 police commissioners in 6 years, until you found one who can be kept busy munching rabbit, while crooks have a field day. We do not want a prime minister who meddles and obstructs justice. We refuse our consent. Joseph Muscat, a few days ago, a bunch of thugs employed by your office detained a group of journalists so that you could avoid answering awkward questions. Journalism is not a crime. We have a right to know. We do not want a prime minister who tries to hide the truth. Resign now. We refuse our consent. Joseph Muscat, you have reduced Parliament to a rubber stamp. Positions of trust are handed out like pastizzi. Contracts are approved without anyone knowing what they contain. Laws are passed without proper analysis and debate. Ministers who are under investigation stay put. Yes, Edward Cicluna, I mean you and your friends. You sold our public hospitals for a pittance. Chris Cardona has been reinstated when he should be investigated. Malta once used to be a democracy. Now it is a tyrannical kleptocracy. We do not even have the right to protest, because for over 2 years, your Minister for Injustice and Censorship, Owen Bonnici, has sent his minions to clear the memorial every single night. This is not acceptable. We want MPs who work to represent us, not their bank accounts. Resign now. We refuse our consent. Speaking of investigations, there is one other person who should be under investigation, one other person who is politically responsible for the assassination of Daphne Caruana Galizia. That person is you, Joseph Muscat. Resign now and let there be a proper investigation. Malta is our country. Malta deserves better. We will not let you get away with murder. We refuse our consent.